the next part, which is definitely my specialty, is the Spiral Abyss. Because I don't know if you know this, but so back then, before the Nalan Abyss, right? The original multiplier for Floor 12, we're looking specifically Floor 12, was 250%, which is equivalent to essentially a 4-man co-op scaling. And I think they only recently changed this to 300%, and I think it was either 5.2 or 5.3 Abyss, and I believe the current Abyss, they scaled it up even higher to 375 or something, which is probably why like I wanted to talk about power creep, because personally I'm not concerned about power creep in the PvE game. However, I am concerned for the perspective as someone who does Abyss, because if they release a new strong unit with a higher ceiling, by that logic, that means the Abyss would have to cater to that unit, which could make it like quite difficult for a lot of the older units. I think when the Tenebrous Papilla came out in 5.2, that was an interesting. Well, a lot of people had a lot to say for that Abyss, and especially we got the return of the Geo Wolflord, which didn't really make things easier. But thank goodness that we did find ways to shred his shield, even though I think Geo Wolflord is probably the most annoying one instead of the Papilla. So what do you think about it?
I mean, it's tricky because you said that you don't play Star Rail, right? So
yeah, I've been playing a bit.
So I've got Star Rail fresh in mind. It's difficult for me to really have a strong opinion about this anymore because basically Star Rail just had like a new Memory of Chaos, which is like the Abyss. A few days ago. That's probably the most famous Abyss. I mean, Memory of Chaos right now, because everyone is complaining about how it's too hard. Even if you have the signature, even if you have the newest DPSs, like I've got one of the newest DPS. I don't have both of them, but even for me, it was very tight. I just about made it with like 2 cycles left or something, and they are going down some crazy path, undeniably crazy path. I mean,
because I was looking at this website and I was just looking for the image for purely for Abyss, and then out of curiosity I wanted to think, because you know Star Rail better than I do, so I was thinking of like adding Star Rail, and then I looked at the graphs and I was like, okay, this is something to talk about. And then obviously it came out, and I have a friend who he plays all 3 gacha games, so I do a lot of my news for Star Rail mostly comes from him. And yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people really complaining about the current Star Rail, and I think they mentioned something about how the previous Floor 12 or something had this much million HP, but somehow this Floor 10 alone had more than the previous Floor 12. I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
A lot of people even say that they found the Floor 10 harder than the Floor 12 this time. For me, like what I'm trying to say is that this is more clear cut. Whereas in comparison to that, I don't know if I could say Genshin's trends feel as bad, even though like we can see the data saying it's increasing. And obviously like I do, I'm not sure exactly what you stream, but I do a lot of viewer help, like viewer abysses, account help, stuff like that.
Yeah, I also do the same thing. Yeah.
When you're paying like people with less good accounts, abysses over time definitely it can get hard and kind of difficult. Even the most egregious Abyss situation there's been in Genshin, I feel like I'm not saying it's hard for me to take it serious, but it's hard for it just feels less severe. It feels significantly less severe, but it's still a thing. I'm not saying it's not a thing, but it doesn't feel at the same level. And yeah, people in chat are asking that, oh, you don't feel as much because the account is invested heavily, but we always help people with a variety of accounts. I mean, I literally did, there might be people in chat, I was doing N1CJ Melt Guan on the bottom path and clearing. We were doing Guanyu's charge attack, melting that, and then jumping over the Geo dude in Chamber 2. We always do scuffed runs, so it's nothing to do with investment. If anything, like I hate to be a self-glaze because it's kind of cringe to self-glaze, but if anything, like people like myself and Ethereal, like, we probably log into enough accounts to where we would get a variety of experiences.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
So I don't think it's anything to do with like the investment, and Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of streamers who have done video business have definitely cleared Swanee without Mariko or Lakino. What I'm saying is, like, try to do that weird shit in the Memory of Chaoses. Like, it's almost unthinkable. Whereas, at least in
Yeah.
Genshin, it's like, it's 100% doable, let alone thinkable. It's quite thinkable. Whereas,
I think Genshin is some. At least I've been doing a lot, like obviously like Abyss guides and helping my viewers to do the clears, and it's not that bad. But I think it's really just a matter of like, at least from my experience, like I would nail down the problems would be a few things. One is it's not investment level. One is definitely like having the units that they need, right? Because I feel like certain abysses, they obviously prefer certain characters over the other. That one's very much obvious. Second thing is that maybe it's something like, maybe it's not to say that they don't have enough investment, but maybe it's like, this happens a lot and I do get triggered about it, but I don't know if you know this, but you feel the same way. But do you notice how some accounts don't really have enough ER built? Or am I just the only one?
sometimes that happens, but I usually just like switch up their artifacts. Like if they have, if they have like a build issue, then I'll try and solve that.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones. And then of course the last one, no offense to any of these account owners, but I think some people just don't have okay, I'm not gonna glaze this. Some people just don't play at the same level that we do. So sometimes maybe like certain teams or units that that you can play a certain way and you still get some result. But if you play it in some sense the try hard way, or if to that degree, then you can definitely get more. Because I have done a few accounts where like their accounts are really really well built. Like I when I logged in, I would see like I wonder why they would have some problem to clear the abyss. And then obviously like skill level for different players definitely differs, so I can very much understand that some people may not be that great. So yeah, no offense to anyone.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Obviously, like we can never expect like casual players, even like semi-casual players, to put in as much time as content creators. So it is what it is. But honestly, in general, I usually find that a lot of it is just like a decision issue or like a knowledge issue. Like a lot of the time I often say like, oh, your issue was that you didn't pick this team, or you kind of mess up the builds in that way. But I always say that like, I bet if you tried this with what I switched up, like the teams I played and stuff like that, then you'd be able to do it. I probably don't find too much that where they wouldn't have been able to clear with their skill, but I could with my skill. I mean, what you were saying before is that a lot of the time it comes down to, do they have the right characters? I would actually flip it the other way. It's more about not being countered rather than having the optimal teams. Like the people who have the most trouble is when like they don't have, like, say for example the previous Abyss, they didn't have any Hydro characters to break the Firebird's shield, or they didn't have any Geo characters to break the Wolf Lord that came after or something. They might not have like the perfect team, but I feel like those are the times where you kind of get screwed.
Yeah, even that Abyss for me, like I feel like if you don't have, let's say, I think now that Abyss, I think like Shilunin, Navia, Zhongli was like really good, and obviously that time we got a Nouvellette Zhongli rerun, so it's obvious they kind of want you to pair them both together in the first half. So when I did Abyss clears for my viewers, I definitely can notice that when the Abyss is kind of like that it's a bit tough for me to really try to help them clear. Clear is very much doable. Like there's nothing wrong with that because I don't have to worry about the stars. But getting 36 stars was quite tough. I do recall that in that specific Abyss, I had like 2 viewers, and I'm pretty sure I spent the entire stream, like each account, I spent like 2 hours again and again running, just trying to help them get 36 stars because I know it's doable. I just have to like play better or something like that. So yeah, it's definitely a good end.
2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours. They're like that. Like
yeah.
I made a community
So-
post over on my chat. Yeah. You did similar things. So
yeah,
yeah, I think I just basically ran again and again.
I think sometimes we probably spend like I mean I don't really upload them that often, but yeah, I think sometimes we spend like 4 or 5 hours on one person's account. I mean, but sometimes it's just that they're just like super counted and we just have to like brute force it. But yeah, I do agree. 4 hours, yeah, 2 hours rookie numbers.